water. Let's see what happens. But it's a few miles away. It's misty. And by the way, that's James' wife's name.
First name, yeah.
Misty. Amazing. But this is a very, very interesting place. I believe it was used for lookout over the years for obvious reasons. So I'm coming into James in a second. I'm just going to click off there for a second. Well, James, it's going to be a pleasure, I know, to hear this information that you're going to share. We met. Where did we meet? Just
we met at Christ Church.
That's
Shabbat
right.
dinner.
So much is going on. If the heat's getting to my mind, but we had a really good meal last night, and of course we had a chance to share stuff and swap some cards around. And James is going to show you the front cover of this very special book,
The I Am Bible.
the Am Bible. Now,
Dual primacy, Aramaic and Greek, New Testament.
wow,
First print, introduced here in Jerusalem, in Israel, 2015,
that's
during the Feast of Tabernacles.
so. KCTV Media is the first of
You are.
many to get this, and we're going to have this, of course, on the website.
It's a big blessing.
And I'm sure there's going to be a link there to the website, and obviously take advantage of that. So, James, I'm just pointing to the left here,
Yeah.
and if you point up, I'm just going to see if, yeah, we can
funny.
see that. It says James, isn't it?
Yeah, it says James the Elder, because funny enough, James was the elder of the Jerusalem church in the first century after Christ. Peter was off doing missionary work, and Paul obviously was doing his missionary journeys and things like that.
Yeah.
But who held the fort, so to speak, of the early church was James the Elder. In Hebraic or Aramaic, it's Yaakov. It's or Jacob, you could say. He wrote the Epistle of James.
Yeah.
He helped decide in the early councils and the early assemblies, sort of the rules and things like that a little bit on how the church would function, that the Jews could stay under the law as customs, but the Gentiles were not going to be under the law. That was part of his council decision. And in Acts chapter 15, it's all detailed there. And then it's reiterated actually 3 times in the book of Acts. And in the Galatians, it talks about it more. And Paul also, when he came back to Israel after being in Asia and in Europe and things like that, he came back and he specifically met with James the Elder. So it's kind of a funny thing. It's kind of this YMCA is a very interesting place. It's a very blessed place. There's a lot of grace. It's like a grace zone in the midst of all the turmoil in this city. Unfortunately, there's so much. There's such a lack of peace, in this city because of lack of, the Messiah, and it's amazing. And now we see James the Elder. This building is actually dedicated at the foot of it to Jesus Christ, to the Son of God. It says we can send you some photos of that too. We took, but you can see it. It's right on the cornerstone of this building we're up here right now. It's dedicated to the Lord and His beloved Son. It says. Yeah,
it's. We're living in some interesting times, though, aren't we? And we heard some information over the last few days of Russia now coming down into Syria, and Chinese coming across, and the Iranians getting involved to the north.
Wow.
If you're not sure if you're hearing the truth, I suggest you just go into Daniel and read Revelations, because all of that information is actually there. And if you're not too sure, even then, go to a place where a pastor knows what's happening, prophetic pastor, and you're going to get information that probably, everybody needs to know about. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Rumors of wars and rumors of wars, as Jesus said.
Yeah.
As Yeshua said. He said there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. And the whole world will be turmoil.
So let's get to the business. This particular book, then.
Yes, sir.
What's the purpose of the book?
Gosh, it's like, I could say it's almost my whole life. Not to make it about my life, but it's almost like a life's work in a sense, because I graduated from Bible college. I was blessed to be able to go to a really good Bible college, Calvary Chapel Bible College, and and I also studied in Germany, and it was there that I received sort of, my calling, and my calling was funny enough to the Jewish people, and I think we all have that calling, as a believer. We have this link we can feel to the land of Israel, or at least we should, because that's the land of the Bible and the land of the Messiah. But I had something a little bit personal because my family, generations back, are Jews from Lithuania. So that area is a very in old Europe before the Holocaust. It was a very studious place to be. It was the Jerusalem before Jerusalem came back on the scene.
Wow.
So Lithuania, Vilnius, these places, that's where my heritage is from, partly. Jews of Germany and Lithuania and the Baltic area. So
because it's worth sharing to the people and to the folk listening to this that you see, when the tribes went walkabout, they went walkabout
all over Europe, scattered everywhere, dispersion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that should help a lot of people because. Back in Britain, I mentioned this, Britain in the Hebrew language means covenant people, covenant land, and we are to provoke the Jew to jealousy. Yeah. And the reality is that from the DNA point of view, I think the ratios go something like in Scotland, they found out that 7 in 1 people have Jewish DNA.
Wow.
I think you'll find that in England it's 1 in 8, but Scotland and Welsh is 1 in 5. So
I know London has a big Jewish population.
Absolutely.
Golders Green, I believe it's called.
Yes,
it's amazing.
Yeah, we were up there a couple of weeks back just before we came out. So really, this book is going to then bring together the Greek value, into a written word which is understandable in English.
Yes, it's in English. It's based on Aramaic manuscripts, which, we know Christ, he spoke Aramaic.
Yeah.
And but back then it wasn't. They didn't. I don't know if they called it. It all was sort of under what was called Hebrew or Hebraisti. In Greek, you see the word Hebraisti, which is Chaldean. If you look in the Strong's Concordance, it's right there. It's the Chaldean, the Judean language.
Wow.
And you see that term throughout all of the Gospels. It says the language of the Judeans, and they had this certain language that they carried back from Babylon to this place, and it's based on, Aramaic, you could say, modern day, though it's not used anymore except for in liturgy. It's such an old, dead language. But modern Aramaic is pretty close, but it's this language that the Bible was transmitted to us. And so we call it dual primacy because it's using both the Greek and the Aramaic to show how important the doctrines of the New Testament are. And when you eliminate one, you lose so much force of what was there, and it's incredible. I mean, some of the things that I learned just recently, it just blows me away. Some of the things that are from the Aramaic originals, which are called the Peshitta, but it's amazing and it's very powerful, especially if you're dealing with cults, if you're dealing with people that have very liberal theology. Yeah. This brings back an element that just completely, subdues that, and it should be no surprise. This is why our Jewish brethren are so important. Paul, he said, don't boast against the branches because they're the root, and we're not to be focused on just that form of the root, because we worship the root of David, the offspring of Jesse, the Lord Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus.
Understand.
And so, but there's still this root of people, and it's so important.
Well, of course, today we have quite a lot of big problems with replacement theology.
Yes, exactly.
And, close friends of ours, David Silver in particular, has been traveling the world to make sure that people, for whatever reason, and mainly pastors, don't have the information to understand the solid to what you're saying.
It's so important.
And so this is obviously going to be a big benefit. But now, your own personal testimony, can you give 3 or 4 minutes?
Sure.
What happened?
Well, for my personal testimony, I came to the Lord when I was a child. My
Okay.
parents came to the Lord.
Yeah.
My mother came from a secular Jewish background in Los Angeles, things like that. Nothing too religious at all, but her father, my grandfather, wouldn't even come to their wedding unless a rabbi did it. So it was pretty important. Even if it's not religious, it's still in you, I guess so. But we were raised, Christian. But my mother would tell me, "Oh, don't forget, you're Jewish, too."
Yes.
And I thought, I don't know what that means, so I didn't want to think about it. But eventually, I went to Bible college. We would always be evangelizing Jewish people. We had a lot of Jewish friends and family. Obviously, we were evangelizing, and
It's in you.
it's in you, And so, but basically, I went to Bible college, and the Lord, through another Messianic believer, my friend Daniel Penna, and he gravitated towards me and said, "You're Jewish, aren't you?" And I said, "I think so, I guess, but I'm Christian, because I didn't see the link." And so, basically,
but this, what you're sharing now, really is happening on a global stage.
It is.
There are a lot of people, including my family, many families, that are realizing there's something in me that hasn't been quite fulfilled yet.
It is,
There is something else. And of course, that something else is knowing him personally, which rips right through every religion. Doesn't matter if you're a Muslim. In the end, you've got to know your maker.
Exactly.
And you've got to know the one that really has made this possible.
It's so true.
Jerusalem is the center of the universe. This is the creation element to this, is that Jerusalem is, this place was made by angels.
This place it's very special, There's a huge divine element to it, Like we have divine contacts constantly, meeting up with you. It's a blessing, and it's just divine contact or divine appointment, you can say, central.
And to think, but you see, he's in charge of time. He made time. Nobody can define time. He can put it forward or back.
Amen.
Apparently, I don't know the scripture, but he actually slowed down the earth for what was one day.
Joshua stopped the sun.
So, incredible stuff. So, do you want to give out a website right now?
Yeah, the website it's inside here. It's the imbible.org. O-R-G. So the imbible.org. And it's under Stahl Family Bibles. That's my last name, and
we're trying to help out as best we can.
I
just
appreciate
put on
it.
the link, and we're not really asking for finance to do any of that. We're looking at this as we haven't got time to muck about because things are happening too quickly, and people need to get the information in their hands and so on.
It's very true.
Is there anything else you want to say? Is there?
Well, basically, just that this Bible, the key elements, why we call it the divine or the I Am Bible, is the divine elements, or some of the I am statements of Christ. They're I am that I am statements, you can say. They're double I am statements, just like in Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, when Moses spoke with Jehovah God, which is another name that we have in here, or Yahweh. Only through the Aramaic and the Greek can you see all of those layers, and that's why this Bible is so important, especially to evangelize. We have it up here, Jehovah, Yeshua. You see this phrase in this Bible translated for you, Jehovah, Yeshua, and it's just a very important thing. And the Lord has set up so many divine appointments with it. We just feel so blessed. We were with the mayor of the Aramaic community yesterday by accident, and he gave us a whole speech on everything. It was amazing. So, we just encourage everyone, get one of these. You can go to our website. We have the interlinear, where you see English, Hebraic, and Greek, all right there, and for every verse, basically. And we also have a classical version and a modern one. This is the modern one. And this is the first print introduced here in Jerusalem. Praise the Lord.
Amazing. James, I just want to hold your hand and say, thanks for being where you were yesterday for us to have that chat, because I did share some other bits and pieces which you thought that's a bit different.
Hey, I know there's a hidden darkness. It says until the departure, there's a hidden darkness that rules the world, and then when the one that is restraining that is removed, then it takes over everything, and it's not even hidden anymore. So it's scary times, but God is doing something, and we're just here for the ride.
Cheers. Well, I got a funny feeling we're going to meet up again somewhere down the road.
Amen.
I want to thank you guys for looking at this DVD or on the net. Remember to come into kctvmedia.com. Stands for Kingdom Creatives TV Media, and we just hope that we're providing the news. In fact, I know we are. We're providing the news for people to get their teeth into and to ask questions.
The good news.
And get this book, check it out, and I'm sure, I just know that this is timing, because you see, what you don't know, James, is that I prayed that I would come across somebody with a book that would help me shortcut a lot of other issues, and I believe I have found that book.
Wow. Praise
Okay.
the Lord.
Bless you. We'll catch up with you again soon. All right.
Bless you.
Bye.